Three of the great words that we hear over and over in the pages of the Bible are faith, hope, and love. And they really are intertwined. And in 1 John chapters 3 and 4 speak extensively about love. And then in chapter 5, the letter turns to talking about victorious faith. For example, he finishes in verse 3 saying of chapter 5, "For the love of God is this, that we obey his commandments." And so that's how we demonstrate our love for God, is that we obey God's commandments. We do what God tells us to do. And it says, and his commandments are not burdensome. They're not burdensome. They're actually for our benefit. And then our verse for today is 1 John 5, verse 4, as he continues, "For whatever is born of God conquers the world. And this is the victory that conquers the world, our faith." If you think about the end of Paul's letter to the Corinthians, which talks so much about love, as does 1 John 3 and 4, at the end of 1 Corinthians 13, Paul writes that faith, hope, and love abide, these three, and the greatest of these is love. And here again, we see faith and love being talked about as just key elements, key Christian virtues, core aspects of who we are as followers of Christ. And part of what John is dealing with is trying to help people to understand that, hey, in the world you're going to see corruption, you're going to see sin, you're going to see false teachers, you're going to see people who give in to licentiousness and greed and corruption, and that's not what we're supposed to be about at all as followers of Christ. And as he's building towards his conclusion in chapter 5, he's talking about how our faith, being born of God, conquers the world, that we're not going to be defeated or overwhelmed by the world because our faith gives us the victory. And he goes on to say in verse 5, "Who is it that conquers the world but the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God?" You know, so much of our faith really hinges and rests on the story of Jesus. It rests on one person. It's really mind-blowing if you think about it, that the entire Christian faith, 2,000 years of history of the church, it all rests on a man from Nazareth, a day laborer who becomes an itinerant rabbi and teacher. And yet we have four Gospels who, if they are true, and we believe they are as Christians, it changes everything. If they are accurate and Jesus was who he said he was and he did what they say he did, and we are called to believe in him because Jesus has conquered the world. He's conquered sin and death. And by our faith in Jesus, we can conquer sin and even death itself. And so we have hope. We have hope both for the present and for the future. And we have God's love poured into our hearts, as we heard in Romans recently. And that enables us to abound in hope. So live today in the power of a faith in the name of Jesus that conquers the world.